The Lima Declaration, how they sold Australia. Out in 1975, without public debate or media coverage, Australia signed the Lima Declaration, an agreement from the United Nations that on the surface sounded noble: help developing nations grow, share the wealth, lift others up. But beneath the surface, it was something else entirely. It was a strategic move that encouraged countries like Australia to wind back their manufacturing industries, shift production offshore, and rely on imports instead of building our own economy from the ground up. The people weren't told. There was no national discussion, yet the consequences were enormous. Over the years that followed, Australia began to dismantle its own industrial base. Tariffs were slashed, trade protections were dropped, the Australian dollar was floated, and gradually the doors were opened to cheaper goods made overseas. We were told this was the future, that globalization would benefit everyone. We weren't competing on equal terms. We were expected to match countries paying workers a few dollars a day, countries with no environmental regulations, no workplace protections, no minimum standards. And so, industry after industry began to disappear. Steel, textiles, electronics, car manufacturing. Towns that once thrived on skilled labour saw factories shut down, jobs vanish, and futures thrown into uncertainty. Australia didn't stop needing these products. We just stopped making them. We became dependent on global supply chains. And when those chains were disrupted, like during the COVID pandemic, we saw how vulnerable that made us. Essential goods couldn't get through, medical supplies ran low, supermarket shelves emptied. It raised a simple but powerful question: why don't we make things here anymore? Part of the answer goes back to the Lima Declaration. It marked a turning point, a shift in policy that prioritized international alignment over domestic strength. It wasn't just a change in economics, it was a change in mindset. The idea that Australia didn't need to be a country that produced, only a country that consumed. Today, the effects are still felt. We rely on other nations for fuel, technology, medicine, even defense equipment. We've lost trades, we've lost skills, and we've lost a degree of self-reliance that used to be part of our national character. Understanding the Lima Declaration isn't about blaming the past for everything, but it is about recognizing how a single agreement, quietly signed, set in motion decades of decline in Australian manufacturing. And that's something every Australian deserves to know.